Welcome to the Big Byte Energy podcast. We're your host, Evangelos.
And I'm David.
And on this pod, we talk about tech, sports, and everything software engineering. And in today's episode, we'll dive into everything you need to know about internships, whether you're just starting out your search or gearing up for your first one. We have got you covered. So, David, what is an internship?
Yeah, so an internship is basically a short-term job. It gives you hands-on experience in the field that you're interested in. So for us, obviously, that's software engineering and tech. For the people that might be investment banking, etc., etc. It's essentially a way to test waters or test the waters before diving into a full-time role. Um, I say think about it. Think of it as like a chance to learn and make mistakes and figure out what it is that you actually want to do.
Definitely. And there's different types of internships, such as summer internships, year-long internships, and spring weeks as well. And these
Yeah.
internships are usually designed for mainly college students or university, as we like to put it. And it's a great way to spend a bit of time within your education system, take a break out and understand what it is to be doing the sort of role that you're potentially going to be going into after graduation. So obviously we have the three different types of internships. We personally did a year-long internship, and we'll get onto that in a brief second. But what is your experience or knowledge with Spring Weeks?
Yeah, so a sprint week is essentially a week long program offered by companies. This kind of focuses more on your finance, consulting, technology, more centered around first and second year students. It kind of
Mhm.
serves as an introduction into the company and industry. It often includes like skills workshops, networking events, and is essentially an insight into the potential career you're going in, which can later down the line lead to internships or potentially a job offer.
Yeah, definitely. I never did a Spring Week, but I know it's really popular amongst the financial district, and it's
Oh
something
yeah,
they really use for their networking side of things, especially
yeah,
when they want to build relationships with potential candidates come graduation time.
yeah. I think
So we go on to the next one, which is the summer internships. So, what
yeah.
is your knowledge on that? And I can add a bit later afterwards as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I personally did a summer internship. So it was
Mm.
initially 6 weeks, and then that turned into a 10 week or 3 month long internship before my
Yeah.
year long internship. So it's a bit longer. So this can kind of be more for students or recent graduates. So don't get me wrong, your first years can go for it if they're able to get one. It's kind of competitive, but we'll give you all the tips that you need later on in the episode.
Yeah.
So any year throughout university can go for it. You essentially just get hands-on experience in that specific industry,
Mhm.
and obviously these can last for, like I said, a couple of weeks to several months, and they can and it's a great way to gain the practical skills you need to succeed in your a particular field. Obviously, again, for us, it's technology, and also make industry connections as well as improve your employability skills.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say the major differences are between a spring week and a summer internship, apart from
Yeah,
the duration?
so the thing about spring week is, I like a spring weeks, but they're very like easygoing. It's
Yeah,
not as full on as an internship because when
yeah,
you're doing an internship, 6 weeks, whatever, that first week is probably used to kind of get you more acquainted to the company, and then
hmm
from then they'll give you your own project that you can work on individually.
yeah,
So
hmm
whereas a spring week is like a massive like event where it seems like an event where like you'll go, you'll meet people that work in a company, you'll network, meet other students, and then also kind of do skills workshops. So instead of working on your own project, you'll work on skills workshop, Python workshop, programming, web development workshop, etc., to give you those skills. I'm not going to lie, internships, they kind of want you to have some skills coming into it, so then you can use the project that they give you or that you work on to expand further.
yeah. And then we've obviously got the final one, which is the year-long internships, which we both did. And I
Yeah.
know I gained a lot of it out of that experience, not only skills, but technical skills, soft skills, and also experience as well to give you that
Mhm.
confidence. What was your experience within your a year placement like, and where was it as well?
Oh yeah, so I was quite lucky. I did my placement at Mercedes AMG High Performance Powertrains, which is a bit of a
Mhm.
mouthful. So this was kind of more focused on the Mercedes Formula One team, as well as being the supplier for Williams, Alpine, and Aston Martin power units.
Yeah.
So what I did there, I worked as part of the IC team, more focused on kind of infrastructure engineering.
Yeah.
and also business support, as well as obviously your occasional software development projects. It was a very good experience. I learned so much. I can honestly
Mm.
say that it turned me into a better technologist, as well as you know, somebody who's more acquainted to kind of high level technology. I gained so much, and I would recommend anybody to do it. How about yourself, Evangelos? I know you did one as well.
Yeah, so obviously I did a 13-month long placement at Airbus. And similar to you, it improved my technical skills a lot because I was coding pretty much every single day. Improved my soft skills because obviously when you're building these projects, you need to understand how to build it, who you're building it for, what the project should do. So that needs you to communicate efficiently with whoever's building you're building the projects for. And yeah, just a really good experience, to be honest. It was a nice ease and trial run into becoming a software engineer and what I could expect once I graduate as well.
Mhm.
Just being in and around the field just gives you a bit more confidence and kind of like keeps the imposter syndrome away because you know you're in the environment. You've gotten there for a reason. It's not easy to get there. So if you
Yeah.
can do a year-long placement, I do recommend you doing it as it's going to benefit you a lot. And if you find out at the end of it that software engineering or whatever industry that you're doing the placement in isn't for you, then at least you found that out now rather than when you've graduated and you still got time to apply elsewhere.
Yeah, for sure. I think obviously both you and myself have done different styles of internships. Obviously, spring weeks, summer, year long, etc., etc. Kind of, why did you decide to do an internship? Do you remember why?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there was three main reasons, to be honest. I think the first one was I wanted to understand what a software engineer actually does because I was checking on YouTube, I was checking on the internet, and it was telling me that they play ping pong all day and they have free food
Oh,
and
those days are
all of
life.
that lovely stuff. But I knew something inside of me just told me that wasn't the full story. So I wanted to make sure that I understood what I was getting myself into before I graduated. And
Mhm.
essentially, that was the main part. The second part was to develop my technical skills because I understood that although I'm at university and I'm studying this every single day, the work that you're doing in college is not near the same as you're doing on a full time job. It's
Mhm.
similar, but it's not completely the same because software engineering at uni, they don't really teach you the soft skills as much as you should. And in my opinion, it's almost a little bit more important than your technical skills. So that was something I was able to develop. And then the final reason was to stand out, to be fair, because I knew once I entered my final year and I'm applying for junior and graduate roles, the competition is going to be incredibly fierce. So I need as much advantages on my side as I can.
Mhm.
And thankfully, that did pay off for me this year. But yeah, that was the main reasons for me. What about you?
Yeah, I think mine are quite similar. Obviously, the major one is kind of to learn what it actually takes to work
Yeah,
within these environments, these technical environments, to kind of pick up these skills, to implement these skills, kind of the practical side of things. Because
yeah,
again, like you said, obviously, uni tries its best to, university or college, sorry, tries its best to kind of give you an insight of what it's like, but it's nothing like
yeah.
the actual environment. So that was a major reason. Another major reason was kind of just to know if it was something that I could do long term when I'm coming into uni. I didn't want to do a 3 year, 4 year degree, leave uni, and then come to that realization. I just
Yeah.
felt that it wouldn't be an adequate use of my time.
Hmm.
Obviously, you mentioned getting ahead of the competition. 100%.
Yeah.
I remember being in first year and messaging um, this like big head of a big tech company. Obviously, I'm not gonna say who it is, etc., etc. Um, the head of a department, and we had a brief conversation. He was kind of emphasizing the importance of it, and I think one of the things that stood out to me was he said that when he looks at CVs, especially for like new grads, and he doesn't see any experience, he just instantly doesn't even pay any more attention because like he said trying to explain to somebody why you sat in a classroom for 3 years
Hmm.
when you had the opportunity to do so much more is
Yeah.
something that you don't want to experience. So
Exactly.
ever since then, I was just kind of like, yeah, internship. And I actually didn't know what a spring week was. To be fair, I thought that was
Yeah.
actually a funny little caveat. I had no idea what a spring week was when I came to uni. I
Hmm.
just thought it was internships and that was it.
Yeah.
And then a good friend of mine from home who went to a bit more of a prestigious university said he came in first week and they were talking about spring weeks, and I remember him dropping it in the group chat saying, "Guys, have you ever? Do you know what a spring week is?" And I was like, "What are you on about?" And after doing research, huh?
Okay, no, I was saying fair because to be honest with you, you're better than me because I didn't know what a spring week was until a couple of weeks ago. So fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, fair.
Yeah.
So we've got our summer internships, our year-long internships, and we've got the spring weeks. Who, if we're trying to navigate the viewers to decide which one they should do for their specific use case, who would you apply the spring weeks for? Because in my opinion, I think the spring weeks for would be mainly for the first years to help them get a foot in the door, to
Mhm.
understand kind of like the degree that they're taking and see if it's for them, to be honest. Because you're in your first year, if you
Mhm.
want to change, you probably still have the ability to change courses in
Yeah.
the course of your studying. And I think that's your the best way to spend your time, especially in the first year when you're learning the fundamentals of whatever it is you're studying.
100%. Yeah, I
Like,
completely agree with you. I would even go as far to say kind of second year as well.
yeah,
Um, you know, because you might have been unlucky in first year, not been able to land anything, which is
mhm,
completely understandable and completely fine.
yeah,
Um, you know, taking an opportunity in second year again will still allow you the opportunity to see what it's like to work
yeah,
in that environment. It will give you the ability to network and meet people, meet the like-minded students, and also excuse me, those skills workshops and the time that they take is extremely beneficial. It's
yeah,
like trying to fit a YouTube tutorial into a
mhm,
week with real life experiences, people you can talk to, people you can work with. And what happens is throughout that time, when you come out of that week, you will understand what it is that you want to do a bit more, and you'll
mhm,
also have the skills to supplement you to do that. You see where I'm coming
yeah,
from? So
mhm,
yeah, I think that first year, second year is kind of the crucial time for
mhm,
spring weeks. I think obviously after that, unfortunately, um, a lot of companies will just turn you away,
that's true.
um, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, that's kind of how it is.
So we've dealt with the spring weeks. If
Hmm.
we go on to the summer internships, I think that kind of bounces for the same, maybe mainly towards your second years, your third years. Third years as in hopefully you get a return offer, but also
Hmm.
your second year as well. Because looking back at my experience at my year long placement, a part of me kind of wishes I did a summer internship just to get the
Hmm.
experience, but to finish uni a little bit quicker. But again, I don't regret the decision because I learned the skills that I learned and the experience that I gained has helped me develop into the developer I am now. So it's definitely not a regret, but it's definitely a
Hmm.
consideration I would have had should I have known this information back then. What about
Yeah.
yourself?
So obviously, first thing I'd say is I think an internship is something that every year should look at from
Yeah.
first to
Okay.
third. Have a look at it at least. Apply
Mhm.
if you can, if you want to. I think when you hit that second year mark, third year mark, that's when it becomes more and more important.
Yeah.
Especially if you decide not to do a placement. Obviously,
Yeah.
a placement is quite a big commitment because it's a year out of your life.
Mhm.
Uh, so if you're not considering doing a placement, I think an
Mhm.
internship is definitely a must. Apply, apply, apply. Do the best you can. Beg, no, obviously don't beg, but do the best you can
Mhm.
to get an internship. I was kind of lucky where um, I did kind of I had my placement and then I had my internship before my placement. So
Yeah.
my internship finished a week before my placement. Um, I say lucky. It was incredibly difficult because it was quite
Yeah.
draining,
Oh,
especially switching those different styles of work and those different
yeah.
environments and different industries. It was quite exhausting. However, I feel like in the long run, it has definitely benefited my career quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um, obviously, again, I'll always say I was quite lucky in terms of that. But yeah, I would say kind of that first to third year, even if you're doing a master's, whatever, if you can
Mhm.
get an internship, if you know someone who can support you with an internship, I think 100% go for it. I cannot um, talk about its importance
Yeah.
more. It's incredibly important.
I'm not sure about your university, but I think a lot of students don't value the importance of experience. Because
Oh,
when I went on my internship, which was last year, 2023, I was
mhm,
one of two people that got an internship from my whole cohort. To me, that was baffling because I was thinking, I know the market when I start applying is not going to be easy. It's going to be far from
Mm,
what
hmm.
people expect it to be. But I think getting as much experience as early as you can is absolutely crucial, especially if you know what you want to do post
Yeah,
graduation. So if it's anything in tech or whatever degree you're studying, I think getting experience of some sort is absolutely crucial. So whether that be hackathons, internships, placements, spring weeks, like you said, I think building your CV up from the start is absolutely crucial if you want to get anywhere far and not be halted once you graduate, struggling to look for jobs.
yeah, 100%. I would, I think my uni's quite the same in that aspect. Don't get me wrong, I will not come and say that the lecturers don't try.
Yeah,
My particularly my course leader, he loves placements, he loves internships. He's always raving about them, and in fact, like, he made an effort in my second year to try get more and more people to
yeah,
apply to placement internships. I think
crucial.
all in all, there was around less than 20 that did placements.
That's
I
impressive,
believe,
though.
to be fair, I believe it's 8. He told me it's like around 20.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
believe that for a
Were
second.
those year-long placements?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's impressive. That's
I don't
impressive.
believe that for a sec. I'm sorry. The people that I've seen in class so far, are
Yeah.
like, and I recognize there's about 8 of us. Like, I don't think
Okay.
it's 20. But
Okay.
regardless, obviously, I'm gonna. I will. Obviously, that's what he said. So
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
gonna use his number as an example. But yeah, like there's quite a couple of us, and obviously, um, I also made an effort in my second year to talk to people about the importance of placements and kind of
Yeah.
convince them. A good friend of mine, I kind of pushed him to do a placement. He ended up doing his placement at Next.
Mm.
He really enjoyed it. I've got other course mates and colleagues who did their placements in number of different companies, Raytheon,
Yeah.
Alanco, um, it- so many. I had a friend do it in a private sector. Can't speak
Oh,
too much on
fair.
it.
Oh,
Uh,
fair. Fair.
a little private one. I can't speak too much on it. I don't want to get arrested. He did it in like
No
this
problem. No problem.
crazy place. But yeah, so I definitely made an effort to talk to my friends about it,
Yeah.
and you kind of see the results where they leave with more knowledge, experience, etc., etc. I
100%.
think that's
100%. Right.
incredibly important.
Now we're in March of our third year. We're about to finish university. But looking back on our internships,
Yeah.
what's the biggest lessons that you learned? Because personally, mine was time management. Because I
Mm,
remember the first 2 weeks of onboarding in my internship was slow because I was getting my laptop, I was getting set up and getting used to the workflow of,
mm,
let's say. But after that, I think I was working on 5 different projects and I had to juggle them
mhm.
based on importance. Before my internship, my time management was terrible, and even now, it's not amazing. As you know, now we're meant to do the podcast like an hour ago. But yeah, I mean, it's something I'm still working on, but I certainly developed as I've gone through the journey. And I think it's something
Mm,
that engineers need to have as well because you're not going to be working on just one project. You're going to be
oh, yeah.
working on multiple, and you have to understand how to manage your time, the importance of each project. So I'd say that's the first one. I would
Mhm,
say imposter syndrome was a strong one I had at the start as well, especially
mhm,
when you're new to whatever experience you're in. So if it's internships, a spring week or hackathon, it's very
mhm,
common to feel like you don't belong there. But the more action you take, the more lessons you learn. It just felt like the imposter syndrome slowly went away. Ever now to this day, I don't really feel it here and there. Maybe if I
yeah.
struggle to solve a leak code question or two, but other than that, it's pretty much well. The importance of consistency whenever you're learning, because throughout the 13 months of the internship, I was coding pretty much every single day. And I didn't
Mhm,
really realize how much I developed my skills until I finished the internship and I started building side projects for myself.
mhm,
The whole process just seemed a whole lot quicker, a whole lot easier. And that's because throughout the 13 months, sorry, my mind was just programmed to problem solving, understanding how to
yeah.
solve a problem, how to take a big problem and break it down into small solutions. And effectively, that's all software engineering is, just taking a problem, breaking it down into small parts, and then plugging away at that every single day.
Right.
But that's my ramble. What about you? What are your lessons?
Wow, lessons.
Mm.
Kind of some. There was a couple of things that were kind of drilled into me
Mm.
from my placement. It's kind of one couple of things that completely changed based on my placement was my problem solving and critical
Yeah.
thinking approaches. Um, you kind of when you're working on personal stuff, right? You kind of just, okay, cool. I need to do this. That connects to this. I'll do that. I'll do
Yeah.
that. It's very easy to kind of come up with this convoluted approach to a simple problem. But when you're
Yeah.
in that business environment, in that commercial environment, there are so many things to consider. Security being a major one,
Mm.
capabilities, budget. Can we do this? What's kind of the outcome of doing? Like, there's so much to consider,
Yeah.
which I've kind of taken into my my personal development kind of
Yeah.
side of things when I'm working on a project. So I previously worked on like a monthly Spotify Wrapped kind of thing. I think
Yeah.
I pretty much showed you, yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things
Brilliant.
I was considering there, one of the things I was considering there quite heavily was the kind of authentication or what
Mm.
type of authentication I can use, because different styles have different impacts in terms of like security and your secure approaches, right? So I think my placement definitely forged that kind of in me, that different style of problem solving approaching.
Yeah.
Obviously, because we had regular meetings with team leaders to discuss progress and etc. etc. My time management was something that I had to fix. Oh my days.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my days. Yo, I remember, when like you think you have a meeting but you're not sure, then you get a Teams notification.
And you're thinking, oh,
Lord.
man, it's the worst. That
um,
team patient is the worst thing in the world.
Honestly, and I was lucky enough that my manager, obviously, he was quite understanding, obviously, because I was completely new to this.
Yeah.
Um, and he kind of let me off once or twice. After that, oh my days, oh my days.
Yeah.
Um, and so time management was something quite major that kind of was something that I learned,
Yeah.
um, as well as kind of dealing with imposter syndrome. I think that's something obviously we both kind of deal with as two young technologists within this sector.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to be in these spaces? But kind of when you talk to people, you talk to your colleagues, you talk to your management. I think it got to a point where I asked my manager, like, why did you hire me? Like, why me?
Yeah.
So and so was smarter than me. I know they were smart. Why
Yeah.
me? You know, but once you have that conversation and you're able to, learn how to accept why you're here, accept that you are here, and accept that you have value and you can provide value to whichever situation you're in,
Yeah.
is something that I learned as well, which is incredibly
Yeah.
important. But yeah, that's kind of my little ramble
That's
on
awesome. Awesome. So
the
going to the last bit now, which is how to land an internship. And this is a little bit harder than you might think, depending on your experience applying. But from
Mhm.
your experience, I'll follow mine on. What are some tips that you could give the viewers on how to land an internship, a spring week, or even a summer placement?
Yeah, I think advice number one, the
Mhm.
most important one for me at least,
Mhm.
start early. I
Yeah.
can't, I can't stress enough how important it is to start early.
Mm.
Applications will open from September onwards.
100%.
If you're applying in January or February,
Mhm.
you will have missed so many opportunities
So
that would
many.
have been perfect for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember in my second year, I was preparing myself in like June, July time. Like I was doing leak code problems and doing practice meetings with my friend Toby. Like I was doing it almost every day, and he asked me like, "Oh, like, why are you doing this? Like, what's the point? Like just." I was like, bro, I know if I don't start early, I'm
You're
cooked because I
screwed. Yeah.
know.
You have to.
But to be fair, even my placement, I applied September 16th. That's
Jeez.
before, like, I applied to my placement before uni started.
Yeah,
So
that's fair. That's fair.
I applied really early, and obviously, regardless, and I still applied even after I heard back from them. Then I
Mhm.
did, but by November time, the
Mhm.
second week of November, third week of November, I already had my offer,
Steady.
and
Steady.
that's all due to taking time, preparing myself, and applying early. Another
Mhm.
thing that's incredibly important is you are good enough. You probably just don't align with what the company wants,
Yeah.
right? So don't get me wrong. There's cases where you may need to improve your CV or your application skills or your interview skills, but that's not always the case, right? If you see a rejection, definitely look at the realistic side of things. How was my
Yeah.
application? Was my CV the best of its ability? If you feel like it generally was, then it must just be a case of you weren't what they were looking for, but
Yeah.
it's not a testament to your knowledge base, or how smart you are, or what your CV looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't take rejection as failure. Just take it and move on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you feel like, maybe get feedback from this company would benefit you, ask for
Mm-hmm.
feedback. 100%. It might be generic, but at least you've heard back,
That's
right?
something.
Yeah, exactly. That's something. Then kind of number three is just practice. Practice,
Yeah.
practice, 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 practice.
100%.
I have a friend, I've mentioned him before, Toby.
Mhm. Yeah.
I I spent so much of this guy's time
Mhm.
doing practice interviews. Just sitting, we'd sit down maybe 20, 30 minutes. He'd ask me a bunch of questions. And Toby was quite a smart individual. So he would kind of tell me in points he thinks I could improve,
Yeah.
areas where it feels like my answer kind of dwindled, areas where it felt like I waffled a little bit.
Yeah.
So practice, practice, practice. And when it comes to the real thing, you'll be fine.
Awesome.
Um, I think that's my kind of tidbits for applications. How about yourself?
Yeah. Oh, good question. I would say on your CV, try to stand out as much as you can. Try and combine your passion outside of software engineering and see if it links with it. If not, just still include it anyways. Because I think when it comes to when they're shortlisting these internship roles, they want someone who's unique and different, as well as they can see potential in the role as well. So
Mhm.
if you do sports of any level, make sure to include it in and show how sports combines with software engineering, how you have to be able to communicate on both sides, how you've learned how to work within a team, and just adding
Mhm.
that uniqueness will just help you stand out from the rest of the pack, because 9 times out of 10 most people that are applying have got the potential to succeed in the role, or they already have the skills that the company is looking for. But the thing
Mhm.
that can set you apart from the edge is maybe just adding in your that little bit of interest that you have, where it could be you played sport at a high level, or you run a side business on the side and you create content, or anything like that that can help you stand out. I think is absolutely crucial if you want to get the roles, or at least progress further than most of the market. That would be my first one. And then my second one would be personable. Having the ability to tell a story effectively and to be able to communicate with whoever you're talking to over the phone. Because at some point you're going to have an in-person call, or a phone interview as well. So being able to convince whoever you're speaking to that you're relevant for the job, that you're good enough for the job, and you have the potential to succeed even further, I would say, is my two main points. So be
Yeah.
personable, soft skills, those communication skills, you're being able to tell a story, and then also make your CV stand out, add some experience, add
Yeah.
some experience, some interesting interests, and things that can help you separate you from the market. So for me, mine was content creation and football combined with the software engineering, made for an interesting mix. And I don't remember any interview where they didn't ask me on one of those topics. And it's just more time for me to sell myself into teaching them about how I'm different, how I'm able to learn new things, and then basically combine it with software engineering is what I'd say.
I think that point you raised in regards to being personable, um, and also kind of the soft side, the soft skills side of things is so
Yeah,
so important.
yeah,
I've always kind of used how little, like in an interview,
yeah,
how little time we actually spend talking about the interview and how much
yeah.
time we spend talking about our lives and ourselves. I use
Mhm.
that as an indication to see how well I've done. If I can get an interviewer waffling about
Oh,
their kind of early journey, their career, their favorite football team, their whatever, you know, I I personally use that as a kind of indicator to see, like, okay, cool, like, I'm
yeah,
doing well here,
yeah,
because you want to be remembered, you want to be personable, because at the end of the day, they don't want a robot.
exactly,
You could
exactly.
you could do a lead code problem in zero point 0.3 seconds with, you perfect, O of one,
Yeah,
time. It doesn't matter, because nobody wants to work with a robot,
yeah,
respectfully.
yeah,
They want somebody who can work well and who can fit within their team. And if you're
yeah.
not able to do that, they're going to find someone who can,
At the end of the
you
day,
know.
the interview is all about testing. Do I want to work with you? Would I enjoy working with you? Are you going to be
Literally.
a net gain or a net negative if we bring you into the team? And essentially, that's what
Exactly.
they're looking for, to be honest with you. Just to have someone who's willing to learn, willing to listen, and at some point can add value to the team rather than taking a
Mhm.
long time to onboard and they don't have the right energy to succeed in the role. So that'll be the main thing from my perspective, anyway.
100%. No, that's, oh, mate, I feel like you hit it right on the on the head there. Honestly, those 2 points are so important.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah.
Jeez. But I
Well,
think go on, sorry.
we'll cut this bit out. What was you going to say?
Nah, I was just I was just gonna waffle if I'm being completely honest.
No, I was
Um,
going to
uh,
wrap it up.
huh?
I was going to wrap it up.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Wrap it up. Wrap
Unless
it
you
up.
had
Wrap
anything
it up.
else you want to add. Anything
Oh,
else you can add for the viewers? First
yes.
episode.
Yes.
Go for it.
Believe in your sauce.
Believe in yourself. And what does that? What
Believe
does
in
that mean exactly? Because it's very shallow, shallow,
it.
surface level. What does that mean?
So you are good. So it kind of all dies down again to that imposter syndrome side of things.
Yeah.
You know, you're always thinking, oh, am I smart enough? I know that there's some kid somewhere who's 11 years old that can do
Mhm.
a elite code hard in a minute and a half.
Yeah.
There's if I apply to Facebook, I'll never get, etc. All that nonsense. Just believe in yourselves, believe in your capabilities. You are here wherever you are because you're supposed to be. You've been able to achieve so much. Them projects you've got in your arsenal, they are good projects, right?
Mm.
Believe in yourself, believe in your source. If you've been invited to an interview, it's because you have things on your CV that perks the interest of an interviewer. Believe in your source. I think that's, to me, that's kind of the mantra. I'll be there before an interview and I'll just close my eyes. I'll be like, believe in your
I'm the
source. You
man.
know what I mean? Because it kind of gives you that boost of confidence because you're supposed to be there.
Yeah. Exactly.
They want you to work there. Just exhibit those skills and you'll reap the benefits.
You have to be your own cheerleader at times. Most of the time, even
Literally,
you have to be your own one.
literally. No, 100%, 100%.
But that sums up our first episode. I think that's gone reasonably well.
Oh gosh.
Thank you for tuning in, and please subscribe and check us out for the
Yep.
next one.